Good morning. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming out this morning to share in this service. Our Universalist heritage proposed that each person is made of divine goodness, and science suggests that we just might be stardust. Whatever your beliefs, know that you are a gift inherently worthy of love. You are a gift, and we are glad that you are here. Love is the spirit of all souls, and in this moment of our shared journey, may you feel witnessed and honored wherever you are on your journey. And let us now greet our neighbors, and especially new or returning people, and please share your names and pronouns. Thank you. This is getting used to this. I know. It's good for us, though. Good morning again. Tell me your name.
Susan.
Susan, what's your last name?
Beauchamp.
Beauchamp.
Nice to meet
Susan
you.
Beauchamp. Nice to see you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
Hey, Ian. Good to see you.
Please rise and body your spirit as we sing together hymn number 1023 in the teal hymnal. We will sing it 3 times and Marianne will lead us. Thank you.
Some audio issues today, so we are a little bit messy around here. But let's start with something very fun today. So we already have 2 singers here. We need 2 more singers, and we need 2 people for percussion. I want volunteers. If nobody volunteers, I will volunteer you. So please do volunteer yourself. Come on fast. Okay, we have 1 singer, 1 more singer. Can be somebody from the choir. Come on.
Come on, you guys.
Okay, you singer. Come on. Perfect. And the percussionist, the guys that were playing. Okay, cool. Just go there. Okay, yay. Okay. Singers, I will want you guys to come here, please.
I know the words.
Luckily, those nice choir mics are working. The headsets that are not working, so it will be okay. Yes. Yes, we are. For now. Here's what I want you guys to do. We're gonna sing the same song, but we are going to divide in 2 groups. So we have a lot of people here. So people that are on the edge, can you move here to the to the aisle with me. People on the edge, come on. Let's bring a little more. Yes, good. Perfect. You can go back to your place after. Okay, and I want to make sure you guys are dancing with me. So please make sure we are tapping your foot on the beat. So let's go.
Building bridges between our divisions. I reach out to you as you reach out to me. With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony.
Beautiful. Now, this side's gonna be group number 1. This side's gonna be group number 2. And we are gonna sing separately. So please pay attention on me because I'm gonna have numbers here. So 1, 2. What is this? 1. What is this? 2. Perfect. So let's start with number 1. Ready, go.
Building bridges between our divisions. I reach out to you as you reach out to
Number 2.
Building bridges between our divisions. I reach out to you. Will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions. I reach out to
Group
you.
1, repeat the
Will
last
I
line.
reach out to me with all of our voices and all of our visions. Friends, we could make such sweet
Last line, everybody.
harmony. Building bridges between our divisions. I reach out to you. Will you reach out to me with all of our voices and all of our visions? Friends, we could make such sweet harmony.
Beautiful.
Lo siento, I forgot I was not on my face mic. So good morning and welcome to all. I think, Gabe, thank you. That warmed up our hearts, our spirits, our voices, and our bodies. I'm the Reverend Katie Romano Griffin. I am very blessed to serve as senior minister in this congregation. My pronouns are she, her, or Aisha. Together with Nancy Olson, acting director of Faith Formation, Gabe Perbieri, our music director, Dr. Elias Ortega, our guest preacher, pronouns he, him, él. We are your worship team on the chancel today. And a shout out to Liz on piano and Marianne, who will be on vocals and guitar. Ron, who is also helping with song leading. Ron Keeper, thank you. All are welcome in today's service, and we also offer nursery care if you prefer. I hope everyone here will stay for our completely amazing pitch-in after the service. There is plenty of food. Do not fret if you didn't bring anything. I say this often, and I mean it with my whole heart. If I didn't already love this congregation and the people, I would have stayed for the food. There's plenty. Thank you so much to all the kitchen angels who are making everything happen and everyone who donated. I also want to thank the stewardship volunteers who will be present at tables in Harris Hall just through these doors as we're getting ready to eat, and they can help you to make your pledge online, securely, and confidentially. It will be a nice, smooth, easy process. Teddy has an announcement for us. Hello, Teddy.
Good morning. So on the AV team, we have some pretty cool stuff that we're planning and stuff that we want to do, but we need more volunteers. So if you're interested in volunteering, come talk to me, reach out to Reverend Katie, and I think someday in April, right, after a service, we're going to have pizza up there, and if you want to learn more about what we do and how it all works, you can come up, grab some pizza, and yeah.
Thank you, Teddy. Yes, they can have pizza and press buttons. mean, that's fun. Also, huge shout out to everyone in the Tech Bridge today. Y'all, we're managing some things, which I'm going to talk about here in just a second. And you're rock stars. We appreciate you. I want to thank Phil and Ray for quick action this week. We had another 2 surprise roof leaks, and they came right in and fixed it. John Murphy, thanks for making some calls to get us some help. We are going to have a town hall at 7 p.m. on Tuesday. I hope you will attend. If you don't have a link, email president@allsoulsindy.org. It's important for us to have a conversation. Our boiler is no longer mostly dead, it's dead. So we want to talk about that, our heating and cooling and the roof, real exciting stuff. Also my sabbatical, incidentally, which, can you believe it? It starts not this June, but next June. So we're going to have some really important conversations, and I hope you'll be here. I also want to thank all of the volunteers who helped yesterday with setup and cleanup. We had more than 30 people here for the workshop with Dr. Ortega, and that was almost half and half. All Souls and UUI, our sibling congregation just across Indianapolis. It was incredible, and it was a really thoughtful and moving workshop. And I also want to shout out to Michelle Novak, who's here. Michelle's the donor relations specialist at Meadville Lombard Theological School, and she's going to be present, hanging out in the halls. She's got the coolest highlighters. So for those of us who like to highlight our books, go see Michelle and learn some things about Meadville today in the hall. It is my honor and my privilege to introduce to you Dr. Elias Ortega, who is the president of Meadville Lombard Theological School in Chicago. As Unitarian Universalists, we only have 2 Unitarian Universalist identity seminaries. 2! One is in Chicago, which you can take classes at as lay people. There's even some online classes that are incredibly helpful for lay leaders. And the other is in California. I am a very proud Meadville Lombard Theological School grad, and I'm going to call out Bruce Russell Jane, who is also a Meadville grad. Class of 05, Bruce? Class of 05? Excellent. Yeah, he was with the old school. Because we're in a new location now. Yeah, it's beautiful. I just got to peek through the windows at the school we used to be housed in, which was beautiful. It was beautiful. The new location is super sleek and beautiful, too. I hope you get to see it. So a little bit about Dr. Ortega. Dr. Ortega is an interdisciplinary scholar who received an MDiv and a PhD from Princeton Theological Seminary. He also holds a BA in Communications and Arts and Sciences and Philosophy from Calvin College. He's taught at several prestigious institutions, including Princeton and Drew. He's committed to building organizational systems in which people, and this is a quote, especially those underrepresented in our society, can thrive. And he uses the lenses of religious ethics, spirituality, and theological reflection to foster change in higher education, nonprofit organizations, and religious institutions. Dr. Ortega's work in change management is grounded in his teaching and research in religious ethics, Africana studies, Latinx cultural studies, and social movements. Will you please give Dr. Ortega and Michelle a huge warm welcome? And Dr. Ortega will be available after service to chat with as well. We are also welcoming the Aurora University Chorale, directed by Lisa, is it Friedenberg? Friedenberg. Okay. Welcome, Lisa, and welcome Aurora Chorale. They will also be with us for lunch, and they're having a concert here at 5:30, followed by cookies. So if you don't get enough today, come on back for some cookies and some music that is just going to light your soul on fire. I invite you to please complete a connection card, either virtually or physically. You can use the link tree to access one online, and there's also some at the end of pews. We want to make sure that we have your information correct in our system. I also invite you to check out the cool things that are happening this week in the congregation. Now, as we begin our time together, let us acknowledge the land itself and those who have sustained it throughout the generations. for we are upon the unceded land of the Lenape, Miamia, Kaskaskia, Shawnee, and Kickapoo people who were pushed from their land and whose children have been stolen for generations. As we strive to be a community of justice, may we continue to find ways to make reparations. May these words by Nancy Schaefer move through you and ground you in this space today. When you heard that voice and knew it finally called for you, what was it saying? And where were you? Were you in the shower, wet and soapy, or chopping cabbage late for dinner? Were you planting radish seeds or seeking one lost sock? Maybe wiping handprints off a window or coaxing words into a sentence or coming upon a hyacinth or one last no. Where were you when you heard the ancient voice and did yes get born right then? And did you weep? Had it called you since before you even were? And when you knew that, did your joy escape all holding? Where were you when you heard that calling voice? And how, in that moment, did you mark it? How, ever after, are you changed? Tell us, please, all you can about that voice. Teach us how to listen, how to hear. Teach us all you can of saying yes. Can I get a yes? Can I get a yes? Yes. Come, let us worship. Thank you.
Emily and Elena are going to light our chalice this morning. This ritual of lighting our chalice, it reminds us to continually renew our promise, to live into our covenant, to put love into action, and to live out this community of love and justice that we aim to be. So if you would please rise in body or spirit as we share the words printed in our order of service. It's in Spanish and English. And if you're with us online, please let us know where you're lighting your chalice from. We'll speak in Spanish first. Amor es el espíritu de esta iglesia y el servicio es su ley. Vive juntos en la paz, buscar la verdad en el amor y ayudarnos unos a otros. Este es nuestro pacto. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. This is our covenant. Thank you. You may be seated. So, Reverend Katie, will you help with this little? We have a little something different this morning, and some of you have participated in this before. So Reverend Katie and I are going to do a little demo, and then we're going to ask you to get a partner and you to also experience it too. Okay?
This is a surprise to me too, so we'll be in this together. I mean, I knew something was going to happen, but so we'll see. So we get to try this together, y'all.
Yeah, we did not practice this.
No.
I said at 9:15, would you mind doing this today? So, this is called gift giving.
Oh, I like where this is going.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks,
So,
Nancy.
Reverend Katie, I've been wanting to give this to you for a really long time.
Oh my goodness, Nancy. Oh, I wanted a puppy in the biggest way. Thank you so much.
You did, but you
I
already have
did.
Baxter.
I know, but Baxter needs a second puppy.
The other day when you were talking to Gabe's puppy, I just thought, you love that puppy. I could see it in your face and your eyes.
Thank you so much. You are the best. You know, you really take the time to get to know people and their hearts, and you're a gift, Nancy. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Okay. So, we're inviting you to also try this, to participate. Please, if you're comfortable. If you're not, you can sit and observe, sit and think, breathe. But find a partner close by and stand up if you're able. And then just take a moment and decide who's going to start first. And then you, whomever's starting first, will say, I brought this to you, or whatever you'd like to say. Maybe you'd like to say, hey, like I said, I've been wanting to give this to you. Or maybe you'll say, I have a gift for you. Whatever. And the thing about this is, just see what comes. Say 4 or 5 sentences back and forth, and then we'll switch. Okay, you game?
Yes.
Some of you have participated in this.
No is also okay, but we get the holy yes. The leaks have. Want to try again? 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1. Going to be okay.
I guess I won't ask them to switch. Oh, am I live?
Yes,
oh.
your Facebook is live. For a second.
I was good for a second.
Yeah, we're good.
Are we good? All right, has everyone had a chance, as they like, to give a gift and receive a gift? So just a couple people, just a little pop-up. How was that? Bill says, Helen says, oh, lots of that. Any one thing, does anyone have one thing they'd like to say that how was that? Like, what did you notice, or? Oh, Jenny. Nice. It was a great chance to tell someone you appreciated them. Anybody else? How was that? Yes, Virginia. Shout it out. Oh, it was interesting to think about what I wanted. Yes. And did anyone just kind of feel that just generous, loving feeling inside? I see a few heads. It's just that sense of generosity, of being able to give a gift that somebody wants, and then also to receive. So hopefully some of those feelings of warmth and generosity will carry you throughout your day today. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Would you like me to hold this for you?
I think I'm okay.
Okay.
Hi, can you hear me? All right. It's so nice to look out. It's the first church I've ever belonged to that I could look out and see 50 friends sitting there. It's actually know your names. It's wonderful. In 2018, I watched a movie on Netflix called Come Sunday. It was about a Pentecostal preacher named Carlton Pearson who led a huge church in Tulsa and had preached for years that anyone who had not been saved was going to burn in hell, even if they had never heard of Christianity or Jesus. He said he had an epiphany that this wasn't true, and he began to preach a gospel of inclusion. He ended up losing his congregation and even his whole church building to foreclosure. Ultimately, he became an associate pastor in the All Souls UU Church in Tulsa. When the movie ended, I wondered, what is a Unitarian Universalist church? And is there one in Indianapolis? I did a little research and found All Souls Indy, came to a couple services and started attending Adult Forum, staying for coffee hour, then a chalice group. I was thrilled to find a church where I felt I belong. It makes sense to me to learn about social justice, environmental justice, and rights of marginalized people, and to make a priority taking care of each other. We aren't perfect at All Souls. We disagree and we make mistakes even when we're trying to do good. But UUism makes sense to me, so I pledge as generously as I can. I think it's easy to hope that the other guy is pledging very generously and that I can back off a little. This is the first church to which I have joyfully pledged, and that's because I can recite this covenant with conviction. Thank you.
Hello. I'm Austin Mitchell. I'm also going to talk about why I'm glad to be a member here at All Souls. So from the very first time that I visited All Souls and sat in these pews, I believe that this church and UUism in general are a great force for positive change in the world. You know, every week hearing deep and meaningful messages and uplifting music made it beyond worth it for me to come back every week. Then once I had opportunities to help make the Sunday service happen, I felt glad to help bring this experience to others. For the same reason, I was glad to help fulfill the membership requirement of monetary contribution, because it meant I could help keep this place operating. And I've since joined various groups that offer even more opportunities to give and receive valuable experiences. Some of these groups have enhanced my ongoing education about issues such as the experiences of marginalized people. Other groups have given me opportunities to make sure that all kinds of people can feel just as welcome here as I have. But most of all, simply being in the presence of awesome people here inspires and motivates me to become even better myself. The people here at All Souls make me feel encouraged and emboldened to act on and live out my truest beliefs. And that is really what makes it worth it to be a member here for me. And now, please rise in body or spirit as we sing hymn number 1021 in the Teal hymnal, Lean on Me.
We all have you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'd understand. We all need somebody to lean on.
What a joyful moment it is to be with you right now. And I also recognize that we come to this space with joys and with sorrows on our hearts, and we set time aside each Sunday to hold these joys and these sorrows. And I know that some of the struggles we're having with the building right now are weighing on many of us in that mix of joys and sorrows. And I'm present to the way that as we're navigating sound today and as we're navigating building stuff, we have the spirit of play and wonder and joy. In my family, in good times and in times like these, we just move the furniture and dance. And I feel that spirit very much in this space today. It's good to be journeying with you. Let us be present to the joys and sorrows of this community. Susie often, if you see her, is having a birthday, and I think it's today. So please do wish Susie a happy birthday. And for folks with birthdays this month, that cake is meant to celebrate your birthday too. So, feliz cumple. And amidst these celebrations, we are also mourning the loss of several former members of this congregation. Carol Miller, Deb Ellman, and Carolyn Meager have passed in the last 2 weeks. So we are present to their loss and their families. Our hearts are with Betty Lynch and her family as they grieve the loss of her brother Paul. Yes, I know, Paul has been here before, so some of you have met Paul. And Larry and Miriam Messing are mourning the loss of Larry's mother. Larry's mother passed on Thursday. So I'll be lighting some candles for them this day. This week, the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals is allowing Indiana's ban on gender-affirming health care for trans youth to take effect immediately. The ACLU shared that this ruling is beyond disappointing and a heartbreaking development for thousands of trans youth, their doctors, and families. And this news comes on the heels of the death of Nex Benedict. Nex, a non-binary student in Oklahoma who died after being beaten by other students in a restroom at school. The LGBTQIA+ community and family members and allies are hurting right now and feeling these ripples. Let us also hold in our hearts the family of Airman Aaron Bushnell, who died in protest of Israel's actions on Gaza. If you are hurting, know that you are not alone. I am here for you. The pastoral care team is here for you. These friends, these faces you can look out upon, some you can name and some not, are here for you. You are stardust. You are holy, and you are a valuable part of this community. I give to you this prayer called Revolutionary Love by the Reverend Dana Edwards, also a Meadville grad. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for my faith that our collective love, united, can drown out the evils of empire and hate and greed. Together, we create a love energy more powerful than any force of oppression, because when two or more people are gathered side by side, arm in arm, shoulder to shoulder, the force of love ignites liberation. Revolutionary love calls us to know ourselves deeply, to see God, that higher order of thinking or being, in the stranger, to find beauty in the imperfect. Revolutionary love calls us to find the divine in dirt, the holy in heartache, and the sacred in the scars. Revolutionary love calls us out and then back in. Revolutionary love calls us to be better and do better. Revolutionary love calls us to heal and hold each other, because none of us would be here if it weren't for our faith in each other. I invite you, if you are mourning the loss of a loved one, if there is a heaviness in your heart, to please rise in body or spirit as we hold silence and bear witness. May your prayers be answered and your hearts be restored. You may rise now in body or spirit as we sing together Cuando el Pobre, and Gabe is going to give us some instructions.
For this hymn, we're going to sing the first verse in Spanish and the other three in English. We have both the texts in English and Spanish in the hymnal, in the Tio hymnal, number 1027. So please sing with us. Gracias.
Good morning.
It is such a joy and a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you, Reverend Katie, for this kind invitation, and thank you to all of you who have extended a gracious hospitality over the last few days. Today is the launch of your Stewardship Sunday. And you come together, I hope, not as individuals, but as a collective that is united by a shared journey of faith and a commitment to the values that define those of us who consider ourselves Unitarian Universalists. So today, the invitation that I have for you is one, to live into cultivating generosity and how that intersects with your faith, with your practice of stewardship and your meaning of community. I would like to share with you a story that for me has helped me think through my own journey in living into generosity. Well, in college, I had an opportunity to host my roommates for the first time at our dinner table. And it was my time to cook, and I was utterly excited to spend time in the kitchen cooking for my friends. And of course, as it entailed for Caribbean culture, I realized I needed to spend maybe a shift or two extra to ensure that I have enough in my funds to prepare the feast. And of course, I woke up early to the chagrin of my roommates because our apartment needed to be clean. And as you can imagine, with 4 guys living together in college, that might take a little bit of time. But the rooms were clean and the kitchen was scrubbed, and I got to work. I had my favorite CD playing, and for those of you who do not know, those are a little plastic round implements that you put in this thing called a boombox, and it makes music. You can hear it. And after an hour or so, you have to change that little round thing for a new one because the selection is limited. I'm playing my music and I'm cooking for my friends, and I prepare the rice, the beans, 2 different stews, a salad, and of course, flan for dessert. Our roommates show up to dinner and they were utterly excited because of the smell when we sat on the table, and I brought all the pots. And yes, many, many pots. In fact, we had to put a separate table to put the additional pots on the table. And they asked me, why so much food? I was taken aback by that. It's like, what do you mean so much food? We are having a meal. And they replied, yes, but there's only 4 of us. And again, I was like, I don't understand what you mean. Some of the folks might show up. And they replied, who? And I was, well, our neighbors. You never know who may come to the door and may need some feeding. I realized something there. I realized that what motivated me to make that feast was a practice that I learned from my father, who learned from his mother, my grandma. It doesn't matter who are you feeding and who is in your family. You never know who may show up at your home for a meal. So there always have to be more. There was always enough to feed our family, and there was always extra. Whether the times were thin or in abundance, there was always enough food at Grandma's table. In fact, I also recall as a little boy being fascinated by her Tupperwares, and in fact so fascinated that I thought they were magical. Because regardless how small those Tupperwares were, there was always enough food there to feed 2, 3, or 4 people. I'm still fascinated by that. I don't know how she did it, but I know that we were well fed. It is a practice that to this day I still continue. I do not know how to cook for 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. I always have to make enough because you never know. may show at your table. The invitation to hospitality and generosity for those of us who gather then in spirit of inquiry, commitment, and reverence. We do so as a reminder of the rich tapestry of faith that is our shared tradition. It is a tradition that is steep in guiding principles that beckon us, call us in to live with profound intention and unwavering purpose. The principles and sources that guide us are not mere words. They are a moral compass, a story compass that should guide our collective journey, directing us toward the embodiment of love as we pursue justice, and a deep and abiding respect for that interconnected and beautiful web of existence of which we are all a part of. This invitation to live deeper into our faith is an invitation to turn our minds and heart to the inspiration that we can find in our faith that point us collectively towards liberation. And it is a liberation path through which we can all thrive, guided by the shared wisdom of our faith. Our shared theology that has been passed down through generation, and it continues to evolve as we live into it. These are not merely aspirational ideals. They are a bedrock, a foundation upon which our lives and communities can build. And as we build, we thrive. And as we thrive, we'll have a witness to those who will come next. We know that our first principle is an invitation to affirm and promote our inherent worth, our dignity. This is a radical assertion, an assertion in the world that often measures worth in terms of wealth or power as status. And if you do not have wealth, power, and status, it means that you may not be worthy of respect, of recognition, and of dignity. We are called to recognize that each and every one of us, whether friend or foe, family or stranger, carries within us a sacred spark, a divine light, a light that should not be flamed out, but tendered to, admired, revered. It requires that we listen actively and that we act with decisiveness to resist those forces that may seek to diminish our value, whether as individual or as a collective. In doing so, we are committed to honor our humanity, and in so, our unity. We also are called to engage in a quest for justice and equity and compassion in all of our relationships, whether with humans and non-humans. In a world in which systems oppress, systems destroyed, in a war in which privilege is used as a way to marginalize others, it is a demand of our faith that we not only recognize this injustice, but that we work tirelessly to dismantle them. This is not for the faint of heart. It requires courage, it requires resistance, and a steadfast dedication to that belief that a more equitable and compassionate world is not only possible, but necessary. And not only necessary, but it is a calling that we have. It is a responsibility placed upon us to live that out. And stewardship help us to move in that direction. It helps us to be willing to change what has been and to embrace and speak what may yet be. Our call to acceptance of one another and to encourage our growth. It is a sacred charge to create a community of inclusion and of learning. These commitments are not echoes of the past, but a current reality. Here we are free to explore the depth of our beliefs and our understandings, to question our assumptions, and to engage in the kind of deep listening that leads to true understanding. It is in this community, in the sacred space that we create together, that we grow, not only in knowledge, but in spirit and in truth. As James Luther Adams once said, it is in church that we practice what does it mean to be human. You may be wondering, what does this have to do with stewardship at all? And to our commitment to support this community with your time, with your treasure, and with your talent? Well, stewardship is not only about financial support, that is important. It is also about how do we carry forth our principles, how our shared principles, our shared faith, our faith journey move us in a way in which we are deeply committed to investing our time, our talents, and our treasure in nurturing that divine spark in one another. In making commitments to ensure that our dignity is not only preserved, but upheld in creating more just conditions of employment, or ensure that we have our facilities well taken care of so that they are inviting towards others, and that we can use those resources for service to the larger world. It is my belief that in our shared theologies, there are lessons for us to learn about how we can be wise and faithful stewards, not only of our tradition, of our community, but also the message, our message, to a world that is in need of healing and on wholeness. When we give generously, when we set tables in which food is abundant, because we never know who may come and join us at our table. We are doing so because we're making a statement about what matters to us. And what matters to us ought to be not only those who we see and embrace and share a plate with. It also should include those who may yet come. When we live and give into generosity, we are saying that we believe in the transformative power of this community, of our community, and that we are committed to ensure that the work of justice and equity and compassion not only continues, not only merely survives, but instead that it is an abundant gift from us to the world. Generosity should be an outgrowth of our faith. It is given freely because much has been given to us. It is making the intentional acts of blessing others as we ourselves have been blessed. We know that time may be limited, but it is a commodity that we can share with others as a commitment to our mutual growth. We also know that relationship matters and they are the heart of our community. Let's cultivate relationships that strengthen our bonds. And we want to strengthen our bonds because we want to support the systems that create the container where we worship, where we learn, where we comfort one another, and where we are invited into community and hospitality. You see, coffee hour is not just coffee hour, and in fact, it may be an extension of our worship. It is oftentimes in coffee hour where we learned of sad news, of a passing, of an illness, of a struggle, and we may embrace each other a little tighter. It is also in coffee hours where we share stories of joy, an acceptance to college, a new professional opportunity, a recent operation that may have been challenging, but someone came through and is doing well. And then we celebrate and share in cheers. That is an extension of who we are as a community. We also know that truth is a currency that we ought to share with trust and integrity. We need to have the conversations that we ought to have, listen deeply to one another, so that we can not only meet in minds, but also in hearts and in hope to co-create our mañana, our future. Today, you start, as I mentioned earlier, your stewardship season. And I invite you to enter into this time over the next few weeks with joy and abundance. Generosity should not be felt as a duty to you, but as a privilege, and a privilege that is steeped in hospitality. It is an expression of our faith and a testament to our shared beliefs. And just as the universe have bestowed upon us its abundance, let us do so to our community. I call upon each and every one of you to embrace a spirit of joyfulness during this season. Let us entrust to our community, to your community, with the gifts of your time, with the gifts of your talent, but also of your treasure. Let us hold to the promise that our individual and collective spiritual growth will foster this culture of generosity that will sustain this congregation and promote its mission into the world. It is in the spirit, I hope, of our principles and sources of inspiration that we can move today in an act of hope, of faith, as a witness to our values for our growth and for the greater good. Stewardship then is also a sacred act. It is an act of our worship. Our worship not necessarily to a God or to a tradition, but to the bounds of love and commitment that have brought you here together to one another as members of this congregation and as member of our shared faith. So the invitation to you is one to hospitality, to be gracious with what you have, so that your joy can spill into others and fill their hearts with joy and contentment. Let your generosity be a powerful force of transformation for yourself, to this community, and to others. So in these moments, let us recommit ourselves to our faith and to one another. Let us be courageous in our love and relentless in our pursuit of justice and unwavering in our respect for the interconnection of all that bind us together. May we walk and stand in solidarity and move forward in solidarity. May each move we take be infused with intention and purpose, grounded in our faith and love for one another.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ortega. And this is why I get the industrial case on my iPad, because it hits the floor plenty. Something you should know about Unitarian Universalist ministers is we are among the most highly educated, heavily vetted ministers across any tradition in the Protestant traditions. We spend 3 years minimum in graduate school. Most of us have an undergraduate degree, which is typically required to get into graduate school. And some of us have multiple degrees. We are, at Meadville Lombard, we begin doing practicum within our very first year. So life becomes the major lens that we utilize to practice our ministry, which is important as a liberal faith. And we have eyes on us for up to a decade. From the Unitarian Universalist Association, from local congregations, we go through batteries of psychological testing. And it's kind of a wonder that many of us are able to make it through all of that. And it is a very expensive process. It is so expensive that when I co-authored Class Action, The Struggle with Class and Unitarian Universalism, I published my seminary debt, which is upwards of $140,000. And I didn't think I could even be a Unitarian Universalist minister because, first of all, I hadn't met any ministers that looked like me. Most of the ministers I met were white males or white females. I'd never met a Latina as a minister. My abuelita, she died not understanding what I did for a living. She's like, but you're not a priest? What do you do? She just, it wasn't in my framework. It wasn't until my home congregation minister, who was a Meadville grad, arranged a conversation with me between myself and a visiting former president of Meadville Lombard. She said, you've got 15 minutes with him. Just talk to him. So I spent 10 minutes telling him why I couldn't possibly be a Unitarian Universalist minister. I was like, they were all so calm. They measure their words. I say all the things. I like to dance. I like to move. I don't like to sit still. That's a part of my culture. I can't change that. And after I went on and on and on, and he just calmly looked at me like, oh, you're so adorable. Bless your heart, pretty much. And then he says, Unitarian Universalism needs you. Unitarian Universalism needs you. And you know what? We've got a lot of generous donors, and it's going to help defray some of your seminary costs. There are some full scholarships available. They go really fast, but there'll be some financial help for you, and you're probably going to take out some loans, but we're going to figure it out. My congregation paid for my first class at Meadville. I was at school 6 weeks later. In this moment, I say to you, Unitarian Universalism needs you. We are uniquely positioned as a faith to support people with many different lives. Our faith is open. As a military chaplain, I can go into spaces of trauma and disaster and speak to people wherever they are at on their spiritual journeys because Unitarian Universalism supports that. I am able to perform rites of passage, including weddings, that other military chaplains cannot. And as your minister, I am able to represent us in the community to fight for reproductive justice. Because that's what our faith says we can do. So in this moment, I invite you to open your heart and to please give generously to support the missions and ministries of this congregation and the future of ministry here and with Meadville Lombard Theological School with students we have not yet met. Today's offering will now be gratefully received. You may give with the passing of the plate, or you may use the QR code and give from the link tree. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your generosity. Amen, and blessed be.
Is this working? Okay. If you know it, if you don't, you can hum or say watermelon. I've been dreaming friendly faces. I've got so much time to kill. Just imagine people laughing. I know someday we will. And even if it's far away, get me through another day. Cover me in sunshine. Shower me with good times. Tell me that the world's been spinning since the beginning and everything will be alright. Cover me in sunshine.
you so much, Mary Ann. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. We're going to close out this service together, and then you're going to get to hear a preview of tonight's concert from the Aurora Chorale. So I would love to hear some shout-outs from everyone in the congregation and folks online. Please type this into the chat. But what would you like to embrace this week? Hope, beauty, sunlight, I don't know, shout it out. Let's hear some things. I'll repeat. Peace. Love. Rest. Warm weather. Rest is resistance. Thank you, Trissa Hersey. Kindness. All right. So let us rest in this moment together. Present to the declarations we have heard in this space, the declarations online, the call for love, the call for peace, the call for us to be something greater, the call for us to rest in the presence of sunshine and sunlight and warmth that goes from the outside in when our inside flame is feeling like it needs to be fired up. Let us go forth from this space ignited with our attention set for these things, for the beauty that will guide us forward. And may the way we are lifted, that light that shines within, be the glow that is our vision that others will catch. And may we return to feel that warmth once more in this space. May it be so. Amen. And blessed be.